Hello everybody, I am Keaton and this is Good Catholic Season 8, Episode 20. And before we get into today's video really quickly, I want to say I mentioned it last week, but in case you didn't see my video last week, I now have an email list. So basically if YouTube ever shuts down or ever says, hey, we're banning all religious content or anything like that, and what I talked about a couple weeks ago, we could be unfortunately getting there. I want to still have a way to contact you and to reach you guys and keep sending you guys videos. So please go to kid-catholic.com/email list. Put in your first name, last name, and your email. Your email is completely private. It'll never be sold, never be released, anything like that. And that way I can continue to send you guys videos, monthly newsletters, things like that. It's super easy, super free, so please, it would really mean a lot if you could go do that. And while you're on kidcatholic.com, if you felt like pressing the donate now button, that'd be greatly appreciated. Anyway, what I want to talk about today is kind of a hot topic that's been going around, because with the school year coming up, it's specifically with youth groups, it's, well, should we open youth groups, should we not, like how should we do this? And so a question that's been brought up is youth group really impactful to kids, or is it just something that the adults try to push and the kids are just going because their parents tell them to? So that's sort of what I wanted to address today, like how can youth group be done correctly, and is youth group done right? And this was viewer suggested. So if you have any like topic suggestions or saint suggestions, leave them in the comments below or contact me via my website, kidcatholic.com. So this was viewer suggested as well. Now what we see a lot with youth group in today's world is we kind of see where whether a church has it or not, it can sort of be like, oh, it's all like plain, we don't really talk about Jesus that much, or it's all talking about Jesus. And to be honest, finding the balance is perfect, because the question, is it really impactful to kids? The answer is very simple. When done right, yes. When done right, it is really impactful to kids. And I think the reason for that, something that gets overlooked, is the youth ministers themselves, right? Grinder and I go to, Grinder, my twin brother, and I go to a youth group, and the youth ministers are absolutely amazing there, and it's not only what the youth ministers are saying, but the youth ministers, it's people themselves that have an impact on us, and we know these high school kids around us, they have an impact on them also. So it's really also about the youth ministers, right? And I feel like sometimes youth ministers can kind of, this is just a little side note, youth ministers can kind of try too hard to be like relatable to teenagers. And as a teenager myself, where I'll also like speaking to kids, so I've kind of seen like both sides of it. My advice would be, like, I know it's not much advice because I'm a kid, so I'm the one being spoken to, but like, just don't, like, trying to be like that sort of relatable like to a teenager can kind of come off as just like no. Like, I would say just be yourself, right? And that's what a lot of youth ministers, like, we need to look at, right, when talking to kids, is just being ourselves. And so that's so important. But youth group itself is very impactful, again, when done the right way, because I know firsthand as a kid, I get bored. I have a very short attention span, right? And I know a lot of teens, kids, whatever, do also. So if we just sit there and we just hear you talking about Jesus for an hour and a half, that's amazing, and Jesus should be talked about. But we kids are going to zone out just after a little bit, right? I've given talks and I've seen it happen. And I've listened to talks and I've been through it, right? I've experienced it happen. So there are two sides of it. So what we need to do is the perfect mix. What I like, sometimes what my youth group does is they'll have games like at the start of youth group, but that involve Jesus also, and then relate to the lesson, sort of things like that, right? But the simple question, is youth group impactful to kids? Yes. And the key is making a personal relationship with each individual kid. Something that a lot of youth groups don't do as much, and it used to be more of a bigger thing that I'd love to see come back, is small group. Small group is something that is so powerful and so important. Sometimes student-led small group, other times youth minister-led small group. Small group is the chance, because when you're with a whole group of kids, no matter what the age is, even for little kids, I think small group is important. Normally small group is considered more of a high school thing, but I think even for younger kids, small group is important, because when you're with a big group of kids and you're listening to one person, it doesn't feel personal. It's just like, oh, this person just came here to speak to all of us, like, I'm just going to zone out now. When you're in a small group discussion and you have the opportunity to talk to get things out, and a lot of times I've experienced that small groups can be awkward, where nobody really knows what to say because we don't know each other, and we're just kind of sitting there like, and then the youth minister will ask the question, like, how has Jesus impacted your life? And then everybody's, like, quiet for, like, 2 minutes, and then someone's like, it's been good. Like, that kind of small group is, I mean, it can get better with relationships over time, but it's better than nothing, right? Even just having someone personally there with you to talk to you about it. Something that else I love is not only when there's a small group with the youth minister being the leader, but when there's also a small group with, whether it's mixed, right? Like they have a senior in high school leader there too, right? Like youth there also. A lot of times, like what small groups do is they split them off between the split between boys and girls I like, because then you can like talk more personally, but they also split them off between freshmen, sophomores. Like that one I'm not as much a fan of, because bringing all of us together, the seniors have their experience, right? Versus, for example, the freshmen who might want to learn from the seniors, and about Jesus and their relationship with Jesus, how it went through high school, and even for younger kids too, right? The second graders hearing from the third graders, right? Whatever it may be, things like that, personal, and allowing the kids to talk. If done things like that, and if the youth ministers like make the effort to make the personal relationship with the kid, then of course youth groups are so powerful and so truly important, and they're necessary. And hearing about Jesus is great, and hearing about Jesus is fantastic and necessary. But a lot of us, we just go to Mass on Sunday, and then that's kind of it. Like, we hear about Jesus, we're like, oh yeah, that's great. How do we take what was written thousands of years ago and apply it to our lives today? How do we do that, right? And as kids, this is when our brain is developing. This is when we need to know this stuff. Because if we learn it when we're older, then we can kind of doubt it and be like, oh, that doesn't really make sense, even though it does. So being in youth group is where we take the Gospels and we take what we know and we learn how to apply it to our own lives. Not just by being taught by someone how to apply it, but also by talking to others how to apply it. What experiences have we all gone through? Like, what's been hard? What's been easy? And that is what's keeping kids in the Catholic Church. Now, why I say youth group is necessary is because a recent study in 2018 found that teenager Catholics stopped identifying as Catholic at the median age of 13. Catholic kids who were raised and born cradle Catholic, right, have drifted away from the Catholic Church in college. And it's a huge trend that we see happening all the time. And we can't continue to let it happen, right? Because we have this tendency to fall into that temptation. And if we don't know the why behind it, then yeah, it can be a lot harder to believe why that piece of bread is Jesus. But there are reasons, right? There are actual logistic reasons, right? That's an example of if we learn the why, if we have more experiences, not just with ourselves, but with other people who may be struggling with their Christianity too, right? Other people who may be struggling with their relationship with God also, because we as kids have a tendency to think, we're at Mass and we're looking around and we can think, oh, everybody's so prayerful, everybody's so into it, everybody's listening to Jesus, and then I'm just here really not into it. Like, I must be alone in this. And that's not true, right? We all go through those types of things. And so youth group is the way to get together and connect with other people who do also, right? And yes, at youth group, it's important to sit down and listen about God and listen how we apply those things to our life. That's absolutely important. But it's also important to play games, to have fun, right? To go out to the arcades with your youth group, to go out on the trips with your youth group. Because again, it's those personal relationships with other people, whether it's with a youth minister, whether it's with another student, and going through that Christianity together, that makes youth group powerful. Okay, because we know that Simon helped Jesus carry his cross. We know that we have to be here for one another. And sometimes we can sort of see someone and think, oh, they're so perfect in their Catholicism, so perfect in their Christianity. How can I match that? First off, nobody's perfect in their Christianity, right? But the sooner we start these personal relationships with those around us and we come closer to Jesus together, that's when it becomes easier, and that's when youth group becomes impactful. And I feel like sometimes youth group today can just sort of be, oh, you come in, you sit for an hour and a half, and you listen to this, and then you go. And yeah, that's great to hear about Jesus, to listen to Jesus. Absolutely, that's a necessary and vital part of youth group. But to also have these discussions and also talk with people is so necessary as well. Because again, it's the relationship building that really makes an impact on your life. You're more likely to listen to someone who you actually know cares about you than you are to just a complete stranger, right? We should love everybody and we should listen to everybody, but you're more likely to take those words to heart. And so that's what we need to strive for. And we sort of need to get back to this youth group of going toward Jesus together, especially at a young age, right? Whether in high school, whether in middle school, whether even younger than that, starting from even small groups. I know small groups with elementary school kids are probably very difficult, but hey, it's relationship building, right? It's talking about Jesus together. And so those things like that, those playing games, those having fun, and hearing about Jesus is all necessary when it comes to youth group. So is youth group impactful when done the right way? Yes, youth group is absolutely impactful and necessary in a young person's life, right? It's absolutely necessary in a young person's life. And so we all need to strive for that. We need to reopen youth group and get back together to come toward Jesus with each other. So now that the topic is done, y'all know what it's time for now? It's time for
the Saint of the Week.
And today's Saint of the Week is Saint John Bosco, and the reason I chose him for this week's saint is very evident. Saint John Bosco is considered the patron saint of youth ministers. The reason for that being he was a 19th century saint, and around the time, obviously, the sort of youth group games mixed with discussion, mixed with all this really wasn't a thing. And John Bosco, from a young age, was very devout in his Catholic faith. He started having vivid dreams and visions of the Mother Mary and our Lord Jesus Christ come to him. And in one of them, he was told, "Soon you will understand everything," which says a lot. Not long after that, he came across a group of circus performers and saw them perform in the 19th century, mid-19th century. And so he knew that if he could learn the circus performers' tricks and perform them for kids and then teach them about God, they'd be more likely to listen. So he did just that. He learned the circus performers' tricks, he performed a show for children, and then gave a homily at the end where he invited children to have discussion about Jesus with him. And so he did just that. That led him to become a priest. He heard his call to the priesthood. He eventually became a priest, and him and his mother together worked to look for boys who were interested in the priesthood, or just specifically young boys in general, and sort of have, in a way, it wasn't called that at the time, obviously, but what we would consider modern day youth group with them, and talk to them and experience with them and lead them in the Catholic faith. By the end, they were responsible for lodging about 800 of these kids and helping them in their Catholic faith, which is absolutely incredible. St. John Bosco died in 1888 and was canonized in 1934 by Pope Pius. So that is just, that's absolutely incredible. And of course, the reason I chose him for this was because the sort of games, the fun mixed with teaching, mixed with group discussion is so necessary when it comes to these youth groups, because we have to hear about Jesus, we got to bond with each other, and we got to talk about Jesus with each other. And all three of these in one is what makes a perfect youth group. And St. John Bosco knew that. So St. John Bosco, pray for us. So thank you all so much for watching. Before you click off this video, really quickly, again, I know I mentioned it several times, but it's really important. If you guys could please go to kidcatholic.com, go to the Join Our Email List page. Just put your first name and last name and email. Your email will never be released. And you can sign up and receive emails, whether it's monthly newsletters. And then if YouTube ever crashes, or if I'm not able to put Catholic content on YouTube anymore, that way I can reach you guys via there. So it'd be really awesome if you could go do that. And if you want to donate to Kid Catholic, again, my videos are not monetized, so donations really do help by going to kid-catholic.com/donate, or just going to kidcatholic.com and pressing the Donate Now button. Also, please comment and say your topic suggestions that you might have. Today's topic was viewer suggested. Also, please click the red subscribe button down below and the bell next to it. That way you get notified when I come out with a new video. Please check out 3 of my social medias: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The link to all 3 of those will be in the description and in the comments below. Also, while you're over there signing up for the email list, if you want to go check out my website, kidcatholic.com. There's so many awesome things you can do on there. You can listen to my radio show on there. All my videos are out there. You can contact me, buy your very own Kid Catholic t-shirt, all these awesome things. So please go check that out. And please make sure you share this channel video with your friends and family so that they know about Kid Catholic. Thank you all so much for watching. This was Kid Catholic Season 8, Episode 20. I'll see you all next week, and hi, Brielle.